everyone. Today we're going to talk about sharks, but not just any sharks, the blacktip shark. Let's dive in.
The Atlantic blacktip shark is more scientifically known as Carcharinus lymbatus, coming from the taxonomic class of chondrichthyes within the subclass Elasmobrachii. All sharks come from the subclass Elasmobrachii, which means cartilaginous fish. However, as the species evolved over time and became new species, their taxonomic classes, or the taxonomic names, changed. Atlantic blacktip sharks are a type of requiem, or ground shark, which is why their genus is Carcharinus. I think most of us know what sharks look like. Most sharks have relatively similar features so that you know it is some type of a shark. For example, almost all sharks have rough, sandpaper-like skin. The reason for this is their skin is made of placoid scales or dermal denticles that the dermal denticles names comes from being, since it comes out of the dermis layer of the shark. The placoid scales are hard and rough, which is where the sandpaper texture comes from. If you have sandpaper around your house and you want to know what a shark feels like, go get some and just rub your hand back and forth. This is a very good example of what a shark's skin feels like.
There are distinct differences and characteristics between each shark species to be able to tell the difference. The Atlantic blacktip has black tips, hence the name. The black tips can be seen on the first dorsal fin, the second dorsal fin, the pectoral fins, and the caudal fin, specifically the lower lobe of the caudal fin. This picture displays a real Atlantic blacktip shark. As you can see on the pectoral fin, the first and second dorsal fin, and the lower lobe of the caudal fin, there are black tips. This picture is also of a juvenile shark. As you can see, it's really small. Most Atlantic blacktip sharks can grow up to at least 6 feet in length. There are characteristics that distinguish shark species from shark species, but there are also characteristics that distinguish male sharks from female sharks. And this is kind of universal within the sharks. So the best way to tell the difference between a male shark and a female shark is looking for claspers. This diagram, which neither of these sharks are blacktip sharks, is a good representation of how to tell the difference between a male shark and a female shark. This male shark has claspers, which are used for mating, while female sharks do not. So that is the best way to tell the difference between a male shark and a female shark. But there's also a couple other ways. In general, female sharks tend to be bigger than male sharks just because they have to carry the pups, the shark pups. But also, if you're close enough or if you're able to see a picture of a shark and you see a lot of scars on their face, more times than not, it will be a female shark because the female sharks get scars on their face from mating. Since blacktip sharks tend to live in shallow coastal waters, they can be found in river mouths, mangrove swamps, and estuaries. They tend to live in coastal waters as well as warm temperate waters worldwide. This map is a great representation of where they are. They can be found off of our coast, the coast of North Carolina as well. They tend to not penetrate deep into fresh water, and if they are seen in deeper waters, that's usually in the upper 100 feet of the deeper water. Atlantic blacktip sharks can be seen leaping out of the waters like you see in great whites on Shark Week.
Atlantic blacktip sharks are apex predators, meaning they are at the top of the food chain. The only predator to them is when they're juvenile, and they are at risk of predation by larger sharks like tiger sharks. Once they reach maturity, blacktip sharks are the apex predator. Since they are the apex predator, they have a variety of prey. This food web will be a great representation of it. Their prey mainly consists of small schooling fish like herring, sardines, menhaden, and mullet. In fact, when I mentioned earlier about them jumping out of the water, it's because they are attacking a school of fish to feed on. They are also known to eat larger fish like groupers, flounder, and croaker. These sharks can be cannibalistic by eating other Elasmobrachii like the dogfish, sharp-nosed sharks, dusky sharks, and skates, and stingrays. Now, I use this food web to display the prey of Atlantic black sharks. However, it can also be used to explain their ecological importance. Being at the top of the food chain, they play a big role in keeping the ocean ecosystem functioning by keeping populations of schooling fish and other species from overpopulating. However, the Atlantic blacktip shark is a near-threatened species, and their population is declining. Unfortunately, they aren't the only shark species that are becoming endangered with the fear of extinction. Great whites, basking sharks, sand tiger sharks, whale sharks, and many others are facing the same problem as the Atlantic blacktip. The success of sharks is necessary to keep the ocean functioning, but also to keep the world functioning. Whether you believe it or not, Atlantic blacktip sharks, along with all other types of sharks, impact our lives. How, might you ask? Well, first off, they are keeping the populations of all species in the ocean ecosystem balanced. If sharks are gone, then there will be an imbalance of marine populations. The imbalance would lead to some species being overpopulated and other species being underpopulated. If this event occurs, then many industries would be affected, which would affect the global economy. Such industries include fishing and tourism, specifically ecotourism. The fishing industry would not be able to catch fish to be sold for seafood, which means there would be no seafood for us to eat. Not only that, but multiple countries' economies would be affected. In fact, in 2016, the fishing industry added $61 billion to the United States GDP, as well as had 1.2 million jobs. If this industry is gone, then that is a large sum of money that isn't able to help our economy, as well as 1.2 million people without jobs. And that's only for the US. That didn't include any other country in the world. Not only would the fishing industry be affected, but so would the ecotourism industry. Places like Ecuador, the Galapagos Islands, and South Africa, and many others that bring tourists from all over the world to see the amazing wildlife they have, would no longer be able to do that and have that industry to boost their economy. And don't forget the people that are tour guides in these places. They would be without jobs as well. These are only a few examples of how losing sharks would be a detrimental event that would affect people worldwide. Unfortunately, there is no international management on blacktip sharks at this time, but many states and countries are creating laws to help protect them. However, there is hope that we can change this and create new policies that protect all sharks so they can live happily and freely without the threat of extinction. Save the sharks!